we the three of us are very busy, right? Multiple companies, multiple things we're doing, which means we're always looking to start something new.
This is Auto Collabs.
Because we have so much free time.
Always.
And we were texting early this morning before a lot of people are even up and out. You know what's coming.
So
and Michael is sending us cover art options of his face for his Dealer Playbook podcast. And then I drop in, I'm like, I've been thinking about this, right? And I drop one in. And then Kyle's like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about this. And he's got a full-on homepage built. And so I guess this is the official announcement. I mean, Michael, Dealer Playbook podcast, an OG podcast in automotive. I'm firing mine back up, Clarity Compressed. Kyle is going to start a new one called You're Smart, which is so applicable. I sent him my version of his cover art. He didn't like it.
What was that? 5 front face?
Oh, man.
But I bring that up because our today's guest is someone who is always starting something. He's the one person that can't sit still. Colby Joyner. He's been on the show before. He's been a longtime friend. And now he's working for one of Michael's companies, LiftKit, which, Michael it wasn't planned, but he couldn't be on the episode. But so we asked Colby, what's it really like working for Michael Cirillo?
Oh boy. Well, I guess I hope you guys.
We're not going to ask him that. We're not going to ask him that. I know. Well, the reason we can say like we've already recorded the episode because Michael's not on it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Have a fun listen. This is our conversation with Colby.
I have a big time question for you. We've done a lot of content together. We were just talking about where you have some of the most OG ASOTU merch of anyone that we know, including the signed hat from the party, including the POAP, which is an NFT that we issued. But the question is, can you give us your very best Michael Cirillo impression?
Very best.
Yeah. I'm so curious. I mean,
what's he gonna say? I'm nervous.
I know.
I think we just done.
I know how I would start. I know how I would start mine. Aside from the fact he's your boss.
In the landscape of retail automotive, this episode of the Dealer Playbook sponsored by
I thought you were going to come out with. So I'm curious. Like, that's
that's a good one.
I would do that one. I was expecting.
I would just hold my hands up like this. Go
or that cape.
Well, Colby, it's awesome to have you on the show. You're just very well plugged in around the industry. You share our heart for the industry. You're doing some new and exciting things. NADA show is right around the corner, so we're excited we get to see you in person. But just tell us about the last 6 to 12 months of what's been going on or what you've been observing in the auto industry. Let's start there. We'll talk about what you're doing now and all that. But I would love to hear your observations on the state of the automotive union.
It's funny. If you were to say the last 12 months, I would probably focus on the first 6. If you were going to say the last 6 months, I'd probably say next question. It's been crazy. I'm calling this like a rebuild year. 24 is almost up. 25 is going to be huge in both in my life and both in my career and in, I think in the industry as a whole. What I feel like the industry has been is, for lack of better words, kind of distracted. There was the CDK thing that happened in the middle of the year, and then that's coming back up, and now you have other companies that are trying to jump in and replace what CDK was for them, and then you had the Techion CDK thing that was a couple weeks ago with that the non-mentionable stuff, and I feel like there's a lot of hey, look at me distraction on the outside, and on the inside they're not looking outside, like they are plugged in trying to figure out, okay, how do we secure? How do we be more efficient? How do we build in a time that we should be building? There was I hate to go on this, but there was a thing that many years ago, my mom told me, hey, you're going to have good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks, good months, bad months, good years, bad years. And it's a cycle. It's going to go over and over and over again. And I was talking to my son about that recently, and I kind of added to it. And I said, look, in the good times, you have to build as much as you can on that foundation that you have so that you can weather the bad times when they come. If you do not build in the good, then when the bad times come, you're going to have no walls to surround yourself with to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I think right now, go ahead.
Man, as you say that, I'm thinking about the podcast, the clubhouse rooms, the events, the webinars, all of the things that happened over the last, like, we'll call it 3 to 5 years. Talking about that exact thing, right? Like, build the walls, set up the structures, train your people now, get good, reserve funds so that when, like, all of these things that were in all of this good, in all of this craziness, inventory shortage leads to high profitability, all of those things, used car pricing is leading to profitability, increased turns. And everybody, it was all like the rage to talk about it. But I think right now we're starting to discover who actually did the work, right?
Yeah, that's
like
whether it really
and who's trying to be about it right now.
That's a really, I was reading this morning. I have this little kind of like morning readings I do, and it's about the book of Proverbs in the Bible, and it's a book about wisdom, and it's like morning readings about wisdom. And the thing that today was very appropriately aligned with what you just said, and it's basically the premise is this: that, like, you only get wisdom from experience. Right. You can try to learn it, but you get it by doing, right? And you can't, in the same way that, like, when hard situations come, if you haven't been building the well of wisdom, you're not going to have the wisdom you need to deal with the hardest situations, right? In the same way you can't, train for the Olympics by working out a lot for 2 weeks before the game, right? And so I think what all of you are saying, what we are about to see in 2025, to Kyle's point, is who's been doing it, who's not been doing it. And you're right, Colby, like this is a year to build. It does feel like that in every sense of the word. When there's a sense of abundance and a lack of, like, restraint and constraints like we've been dealing with for the last 3.5, 4 years, this finally feels like, okay, like the runners, like swimming athletes, that they'll swim in like a sweatsuit, right? And then they'll, like, sweatsuit comes off and you feel like you can swim twice as fast as you ever did, right? And that is what 2025 is. Good observation.
Yeah, I definitely think
great episode, guys. I mean, what else are we going to say that's better than that? What else are we going to say?
What a mess.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that, over the last several years, everybody had the ability to just kind of spend at will and say, oh, I want to do this. I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And they did. And they got tons of opportunities. They were working on their processes at that time. So they were maximizing as best as they could at the time, those opportunities. But now that spend at will mindset isn't there. You can't necessarily do that. You kind of have to go back to a structured, hey, we have this much money to spend. How are we going to benefit from it the best? What are we going to get the best opportunity? What kind of opportunities are we looking for? It's no longer just, hey, fill up the bucket. It's which ones do we need? Mm-hmm. And now I feel like a lot of people are getting far more detailed and specific on, hey, I want to sell more of this specific trim level of Silverado because it does the best for us and we can be the market leader in that. Or I want to, focus on, our service department and increase our service, our RO count or dollars per RO, with like the UVI stuff, and any of these things. So I think now it's.
Are you seeing a trend specific where, like, I think, like, I'm going to go back to like 2008, 2009, websites are really starting to get there. We're starting to get, like, more and more people are understanding the digital advertising ecosystem. And it's like, everybody's like, at some point we'll have the data to know what to do next. And then we spent the next 10 years going, what is this data? Where is this data? How do we find this data? How do we report on it? What does the reporting look like? Mm-hmm. How do we match it up and do all these things to kind of like connect advertising or connect, even inventory purchasing to action. And we're starting to see reporting match actionable insights where people can actually make movements based on what they're seeing in, like, either historical or future facing data where there's predictive modeling on what might make sense for their business? Are you seeing dealers start and even industry partners start to adjust their thesis on like more predictive analytics that tell them like where to move next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing people talk about mixed media modeling, and trying to figure out where's the best place to put funds. Taking a look at historical data and being able to project out, knowing month, day, year, seasonal, this is the way it should be, so that there isn't a reaction or an overreaction to a result. That result could be perfectly fine. It may be lower than it was 2 months ago, but it's 10% higher than it was year over year in the same period. I think there's a lot more people that are becoming educated about that data and saying, hey, it's not just an instinctual, like, oh, that looks bad, or I want more. It's like, okay, well, let's take a look at the past. Let's take a look at what we could see in the future. And does this make sense? Is there growth here, or is there not growth? And is there not growth because of something? And is that something that we can change?
Yeah. You've recently made a move and into a platform that is managing inventory for people in kind of a unique way. And I talk a lot about how merchandising is kind of the first step in marketing, right? If you can't get that right, if you don't know what you have to sell, where you have to sell it, and merchandise it right, then like the rest, you're just wasting dollars on the other end. When you think about this, like, okay, we understand the data, we understand, how do you loop that back into an inventory plan, an inventory strategy that actually allows this new data model, media mix model, understanding your KPIs for business outcomes? How do you loop that back into inventory strategies? And what kind of strategies are you kind of seeing dealers take on?
Well, I think the interesting thing, especially with LiftKit and what we're doing, and and I told you guys kind of at the beginning, like, this isn't a pitch, this is just what we're doing. But it's the ability to A/B test, is the ability to say, hey, I want to send a specific customized mapped feed to cars.com versus a mapped feed to AutoTrader with maybe different descriptions, maybe different photos or backgrounds of photos, or maybe different pricing, or, like, to be able to genuinely A/B test it in a smaller environment that's outside of your OEM site, where you're spending money out there. Like, hey, I don't want to spend $7,000 on cars.com right now because they want to list every ounce of my inventory. I know that I can sell the trucks. I just want the Traxes and I want the EVs on cars.com. So I'm going to send them just a specific syndicated feed of just that. And that's what they're going to put on there. And that's how I'm going to. So now instead of spending $7,000, I'm spending $2,500, but getting the same kind of traction results or better that I can get, by doing it that way. I think being able to specifically A/B test it and send out customized items, to know that if you go in one place and you put the price or description, or you have all the appropriate information that you need to have on that vehicle with all the photos that you need to have, and that with the click of a button, it goes everywhere the way it should be, and you have faith and trust in it. And if it fails in one spot, you are aware of it, know exactly who to get a hold of and switch it on.
We in this industry, this is interesting. I haven't talked about this a lot, but we in this industry kind of like, there's a lot of people that will tend to hate on the third parties, right? Mm-hmm. The AutoTraders, the Cars.com, the Gurus, the Edmunds, all that type of stuff. And for the life of me, I don't really understand why, because we all shop third-party listing aggregators all the time in every other industry, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon, Google Flights, Priceline Hotels, Google Hotels, like these are third-party aggregators. And if we only take the hotels, and this is where I'm getting somewhere with this, because you brought up something that I don't think we've thought about a lot. If you only look at hotels and even flights, these hoteliers and airlines have actually started syndicating specific rooms at specific price points to specific listings providers, because they know they either perform well or the traffic on those is increasing or decreasing.
Yeah.
And you actually get like, because that's how you get these different prices. And then that's why you get Google aggregating like, here's what you can find on Priceline, Booking.com, all that type of stuff, because different providers, different people, different shopping behaviors, different incentives for even pricing or how the listing looks. And this is an opportunity to think about that. Like, by platform, what performs? What am I sending there? How do people shop on that platform? Like, oh, Car Gurus is a pricing platform. Auto Trader is a whatever platform for us in this area. This is the behavior. That's a really it actually aligns to what what those platforms are actually going after. Right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. You have and mind you, I'm not putting any other company down. Like, you have EVN, right? You have EVN that does the GM, the digital representation. They do Kia, they do Genesis, they do other ones. When that's pushed out and syndicated out, you have the typical digital background of the dealership that's behind it. Right. And that gets syndicated out everywhere. So if you go to Auto Trader or Cars.com or Car Gurus or anywhere that you're going to do your search,
that's what it is.
Doesn't it all look the same? At that point, you're just saying, like, your eye is catching that it's blue and that it may have the lowest price. So there, at that point, you're not building any what they used to call ether in the excitement of that vehicle. It's just like, I need to find blue, lowest price, blue, lowest price. But now you're able to go and say, hey, I want that. Like, the same vehicle can be out there, but instead of that background that is the classic dealership background, it's Christmas time. I want to do that background with lights on the building, or I want to do that background if I'm in the forest with Santa or the Coca-Cola bears or something. You can be as silly.
It doesn't really matter what you want to do.
Well, actually, with all the new generative tools out there, it's going to be easier than ever to generate differentiated backgrounds.
So as you're scrolling down, all of a sudden your eye is automatically going to catch that something's different about this one. It still looks good, but something's different. It makes you just take that half a second longer to take a look at it. And if you build value props and you build name and brand reputation in that, especially in the local area, you are more likely to get that click on that individual, on that SRP where your vehicle is than, if it wasn't changed. Same thing with social. You get it pushed out on social. You have the carousels running or whatever it may be. You can be specific about what campaign you want to run with specific backgrounds for Facebook that have to do with whatever's going on. And so I think that allows in a world where in a digital world where there's, everybody trying to capture the attention and the eyes of the consumer, and everybody is saying, hey, you just need to be everywhere all at once. Yes, you can be everywhere, but you can be very specific about where, with what, and how it looks.
So that's one application of what you're doing, right? Actually, it's bringing some flexibility to bring creativity and art and brand into something that has become standardized, by some OEM requirements, et cetera. Or not requirements, but easy to use content, I guess, generated. What are some of the other pain points in the merchandising process, right? That you see an opportunity to improve?
How long it is taking on average for somebody to have a trade photoed and put up and have some kind of visual representation of what it is instead of the coming soon. Like, let's be honest, guys, like, why do we still have coming soon photos?
I mean, if it's coming soon, it's like it's leaving my screen as fast as I saw it, right?
Yeah.
Coming soon is not arrived.
Let me know when you have something to sell, right?
Yeah. It's like, why put it on there if it's coming soon? Like, I'm not going to buy or even call about something if it's like that. But,
because it feels better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
On our side, we have, we put in and developed a mobile uploader. It's nothing fancy, but it works incredibly well. It's a mobile uploader. You go and take the photos of the vehicle. It has the stencils, just like all other companies have stencils. Yeah. Not knocking them at all. Yep. But you take the photos of the vehicles with the stencils. You can go and get that car put up. It tells you exactly what to take right there on your phone. Your used car manager can go and do that as soon as it's traded in. You can do it the next morning in a lot walk, knowing from a report that's in LiftKit that says, hey, these are the photos. These are the vehicles that don't have photos that are now in stock or in inventory. Pull them out in the lock walk, have everybody take their photos around it. And the way that LiftKit works is as soon as they're pushed and uploaded, it will replace the background. It'll auto adjust where the vehicle needs to be in that background, and it'll place it on the site before lunch.
So it's up, and maybe they're not your studio quality, fully detailed, pristine, but that's eons better than
you
know,
have
the old showman's blanket over the vehicle.
And the good thing is because you want the cleanliness, that uniformity on the site with the right background, and the cars are spaced right, and they're zoomed in right. It's not like that weird odd angle, or you're just getting a taillight for whatever reason. It's like when you get those cars, as soon as they go up, they're up and they look and match everything else that's on your website as soon as possible. There's no more need for a coming soon photo.
And this is where like speed of turn, speed of inventory turn, increased profitability, like all of these things down the line. And I think this is going back to the whole, like, what were we doing over the last 5 years? We were looking at the blocking and tackling of the business, right? What are the things right now that we need to set up so that, like, the hard stuff when it gets to interacting with the customer in person, to, selling when, interest rates are high and pricing is still high and inventory demand is still high. Like, you got to get this blocking and tackling stuff out of the way. And it's like, get your cars photoed, get them online, make sure that they stand up straight, and put them in the right places for the right people based on the shopping behavior of the platform. Like, these are things I think in this day and age, when every interaction starts digital, are just table stakes for being in business.
It should be easy, but it hasn't been easy to do that. Yeah, it should be, but it hasn't.
I think every great business starts with those two premises. Like,
this should be easy, but it hasn't been.
But it hasn't been.
Welcome to
Uber.
Uber.
Now,
Welcome to
right?
Amazon. Welcome to
now.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you this. Let me just take the conversation a little bit of a different direction, because I know you're someone who's always dabbling in the new technology. You like to get your hands dirty. You like to get elbows deep in it before everybody else does. We've kind of like run this course now of the last 18 months. The people who have started dabbling in AI 18 months ago and beyond, when the first tools were starting to drop, right? You were one of those. And now here we are, we're hitting this, we're going to hit like a much more mass adoption type curve sometime in 2025. Recent stats show that still only 26% of professionals are using AI tools in their everyday life. What are you using, and what is your perspective on how dealers can be leveraging AI, dealers or tech companies or whatever, because you're always kind of ahead of the curve in these things. So, we have our AI newsletter now, and like, we're trying to bring this conversation to the front. Hopefully a few people will hear this and like try something new.
So you need to have that little YouTube subscribe bing button that goes off right there. I'll start off with this. Outside of automotive, outside of work and all that stuff, I still play around. I'm no Ben Hadley when it comes to like creating an AI of Ben Hadley.
No one is. Let's just put that out there.
But I did create, and I'm testing it right now with everybody.
Real quick, before you say that, I thought you were going to say, but I did say in a Holiday Inn Express last
night. But I did
say now finish your actual phrasing.
Man, I'm just missing the boat on some of these opportune times.
They're just right there for you. They're just like cleaned right up.
Yeah. No, I did create a lawn care AI.
Oh no. Okay. See, have you seen?
If you don't know this about Colby, hold on. We got to give him some of the backstory. This man is the most obsessed lawn care advocate you'll ever meet,
and a savant all at the same time.
Oh, and he's good at it. And he's good at it. Okay,
and so you created. It's winter, and it sucks that I can't be doing that all right now.
Right, but so you're creating. So you're creating a lawn care AI. Tell us about this.
No, like I already create. It's created. It's just not public because I'm testing to make sure that all the responses and everything the way it should be. But it has to do with, you jump in and you say, hey, I got a problem. And it's like, cool. What kind of grass do you have? What season is it? What is this? What is that? And it asks you some questions, and then it will go through, give you step-by-steps. It'll email and send out PDFs of how-tos. It'll tell you what to buy, how to buy it, exactly what the amount of product that you may need for it based off of the size of your lawn and that product's specifications. But
come on.
So I created this whole thing, and then I also had it to where it does conversational voice. And so like this over the past right after Christmas, I was with my dad and I said, hey Dad, can you check this out and look at it? And he was doing the button to talk into it to then have it type it and send it out. I was like, no, just click that button. So he clicked it. And the person was like, oh, hey, Chuck, it sounds like you want to do it on voice now.
That's amazing.
And he carried on a legit full on conversation with my lawn care AI. And he was like, well, I have these brown spots in my yard. And he's like, yeah, that's bad. You're probably overwatering a little bit. Like, you may want to check this, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I can send you a whole list of things that you want to look at. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. That's emailed. Do you have any other questions? And it's just
amazing.
So what platforms did you leverage? Just give us a quick list of the platforms.
On that one, it's just ChatGPT. I just created a GPT in ChatGPT.
I didn't realize that can email stuff.
Yeah, well, there's other prompts and things that can get tossed into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could do that
leveraging
without
Zapier within it.
Stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, Zapier. Okay. That I do.
Yeah. But I think the prompt sequence and everything is like 8,000 words long.
Yeah. Legit,
Colby, that's amazing. It's clear that you are thinking about not just the basics, but the expansive nature of technology, and always excited to hear what you're thinking about. And thanks for chatting with us again and telling us a little bit about what you're doing. And thanks for joining us on Auto Collabs.
I love chatting with you guys. I appreciate it. And to let everybody know that if they want to experience some kind of cool, innovative inventory system,
here he goes.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to do it last second. I'll have 50 people message me, send me a DM, and I'll get you on the beta for free.
All snap. Michael,
what did you know of the episode?
How'd it go?
Actually, you don't know how it went. Did you know about Colby's lawn care AI thing?
I know that he loves lawns.
That's true.
I know that from his social media posting of his lawn, the founder of a reel mower company in South Africa sent him a reel mower.
Yes.
So he's now officially the first person I've met in real life, or that I know in real life, that actually got a free product because he posted on social.
Wow. I want to do that.
And then the AI thing just makes, obviously.
Yeah.
It's smart. Yeah. I mean, what I love, and I think this is anybody that, we're obviously all three founders together with ASOTU, but also outside of this. And what I love about most of the people that are in startups, whether they're the founder or they're early on, or they're also creative, right?
Yeah.
There's no stopping this new thing I'm making on the side. I tried this weekend. What do you think about this entrepreneurial activity that I'm doing? I mean, you just look around the halls of ASOTU More Than Cars, and people have side gigs, and they're creating on the side, or they're part of nonprofits. And so I think that energy actually is what provides the energy in the day-to-day to think of what's the new thing that needs to be built? What's the thing that we didn't have before, maybe as an industry or whatever, that now if we'd have access to, it would just be better.
I mean, that literally is quintessentially a great way to summarize why LiftKit exists.
Yep.
Right. It was one of those things, and there was some creative energy and rolling around in Michael's head. And he's always, look, if you don't know this about Michael Cirillo, if he's not building a company, he's rearranging and tearing apart his desk and then literally lamenting about it in real time. What have I done? As he's taking wires out. It's happened on so many calls.
And then building it right back up.
No, yeah. But that is why LiftKit came to be, Michael, right? You saw a thing and you're like, I can do something about this.
But enough about me, guys. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me?
What do you think about me?
I think that everybody's going to love your new cover art on your podcast. I think that everybody's going to continue to love the Auto Collabs episodes. We just love sharing stories in the industry, our stories with you. Thank you for listening. On behalf of myself, Paul J. Daly, and Kyle, and Michael Cirillo, not Kyle, that's me. Thanks for
he's speaking about himself in the third person now.
Collabs. See y'all. Welcome to Auto Collabs.
recording.
Are we rolling yet?